my name is Peter Capener. I'm Managing Director of Bath and West Community Energy, and I've been a resident in Bath and North East Somerset for over 35 years now. Over the last 10 years, I've been involved in developing, through Bath and West Community Energy, over 12 megawatts of community solar, enough electricity to match the equivalent electricity demand from around 4,000 homes, and in the process raised around £20 million from various sources, including community financing, which has given local people a practical stake in the energy transition to net zero carbon.
Pete, our vision stories about the future of BAMES talk about new models of finance and investment. Why do you think it might be important to achieve this?
Yeah, so I think we're facing a need to address a massive erosion of trust in so many of our institutions within general public, and finance being a key one of those. And if we're not able to rebuild trust in these key areas, we're going to really struggle to take people with us on this transition to net zero. And for me, part of that rebuilding trust is creating new financial instruments, investment opportunities that are principally transparent, so that people can see where the money's come from, where it's going, and importantly, who benefits. And so transparency is a critical part of the new instruments, new opportunities that we need to create, but also where those benefits go, who benefits from the financial investment opportunities. And clearly, from my perspective, we want to try and make sure that those benefits are shared locally across people who might not have the funds to invest, but hopefully can benefit from the opportunities that are generated. So transparency and equity are key parts of this. And I think to finish, I'd just say that clearly, I think community financing, providing people opportunities for local people to invest, and also financing through local authorities provides key opportunities for enhancing both transparency and equity within the new financial instruments.
How ambitious do you feel that BAMES can be in terms of its future vision?
Well, for me, I've got this net zero lens, and I think there's a real question here as to whether we set our ambition against what we think now is achievable, that a pragmatic, incremental approach, if you like, or do we say, what do we need to do in order to meet our obligations around Paris Agreement, reduce global heating to 1.5 degrees C above previous levels, what we need to do to create a stable, livable climate? What does that mean? And I think that's a fundamentally different way of approaching this. And I speak as somebody who was involved in setting incremental targets back in the 2000s. I led programs that set 2010 and 2020 renewable energy targets across the Southwest. And the interesting thing about those targets is both of them, both 2010 and 2020, were exceeded. So not only is incremental pragmatic decision-making around ambition and targets not adequate, fit for purpose for what we need, it's also inaccurate, because you can never tell what's going to happen in 5 years' time. And inevitably there will be things that will happen that will enable things go faster. So switching it over, setting our ambition about what we need to do, not what we think we might be able to manage, for me is the way forward.
Finally, if the renewal vision that we're helping to facilitate could do just one thing to pave the way for a net zero carbon 2030, what do you think that should be?
Well, I think it has to move net zero carbon closer to the centre of the vision. At the moment, it's spread out in parts across bits of the four visions. And as a result, you lose the coherence and the consistency that we need to create a realistic response. So I think there needs to be some overarching vision around net zero, because all issues are going to be affected. And in fact, all people, all businesses, over the next 10 years, none of us are going to escape some impact as a result of the climate agenda, and therefore our collective response needs to involve everybody. So this vision, I think, needs to be at the center, or the net zero carbon vision needs to be center of the renewal process, and importantly, therefore, be able to clearly articulate what we mean by building back better. What is the better that we're building back to? Is it just better what we did before, kind of more of the same, but a bit better? Or is it fundamentally something different? And this is what the renewal vision needs, I think, to be articulating. How do we mean when we say, what do we mean when we say build back better? And if I could just add one more thing, I know you said just one thing, but I think the steering of this renewal vision, the process for enacting it through the Economic Wellbeing Board and other processes need to embrace that net zero part as well. And so that we can see a kind of trajectory, both from the vision through to delivery, that really embraces the net zero transition.